Is a $333 pickleball paddle ever worth it? Today we're finding out with the Selkirk Boomstick, a premium power paddle that promises to deliver serious pace while keeping your shot stable and on target. This is a full foam core design with some interesting tech. Selkirk's MOI Tuning System uses side weights to reduce twisting on mishits, and their Infinigrate surface is supposed to hold up 3 times longer than standard carbon fiber. It launches August 14th at noon Eastern. I tested both the elongated and wide-body versions over several weeks, including sessions at Selkirk's headquarters where I got to see their development process firsthand. Full transparency, Selkirk provided these paddles at no cost, but they didn't pay me and had no editorial control over this review. So the question is, who's this paddle actually for? It's for aggressive players who like to pressure opponents with drives and pace, players who want to be first to speed up at the kitchen line, and players who need punch volleys and counters that hold their line without that trampoline effect you get from some power paddles. Coming up, we'll talk about the tech, dive into the measured performance numbers, talk about some early quality issues I encountered, and figure out which shape might fit your game, and if either one is worth that premium price tag. Let's start with the core. Instead of the traditional honeycomb polypropylene you'll find in most paddles, the Boomstick uses what Selkirk calls their boom core system. It's a full foam body with an EVA power ring around the edges. Think of it like a foam donut. The center is one type of foam, and there's a denser ring of foam around the perimeter. The goal here is energy return without the inconsistency. Traditional cores can develop dead spots or get crushed over time. The foam system is designed to give you consistent and predictable power from day one without needing to break it in. Next is the surface. Selkirk coats the carbon fiber face with their Infinigrate spray, basically a textured coating that's supposed to grab the ball better than raw carbon. More importantly, their lab tests show it keeps the texture about 3 times longer before wearing smooth. So instead of losing spin after a few weeks of play, you should maintain consistent ball grab for months. Finally, those red things on the side, this is Selkirk's MOI Tuning System, and it's probably the most interesting part of the paddle. They mount these weights right on the edge guard to push mass away from the center. When you hit the ball off center, which happens to all of us, the paddle face wants to twist. More weight at the edges means more resistance to that twisting. The result? Your mishits stay more on target instead of sailing wide. It's the same physics principle behind why longer tennis rackets feel more stable, just applied differently. One thing to note, this is a labs release, which means Selkirk plans to keep refining the design based on player feedback. Every paddle is assembled in the US with their in-house R&D and testing. So think of this as a 1.0 of what could evolve into something even better. Now let's talk about those numbers. I wanted to see exactly how much weight these side weights actually matter. So I measured the paddle with and without them. With the MOI weights installed, my elongated test unit came in at 8.22 ounces static, with a swing weight of 117.15 and a twist weight of 6.65. Remove those little red tabs, which weigh about 15.5 grams in total, and you drop to 7.67 ounces, swing weight goes from 117.15 to 107.35, and twist weight from 6.65 to 5.25. That's a massive difference in stability and swing weight. Without the weights, the paddle plays quicker in your hand, but loses that plow-through power and mishit forgiveness. It's some evidence that the system actually works. Here's the thing though. Selkirk says these weights aren't optional. They're not meant to be a tuning system you can adjust. They're built into the design from day one. The paddle is engineered around having them there, so removing them fundamentally changes how it plays. If you're wondering why they didn't just build this stability into the frame internally, that's a fair question. According to Selkirk's product team, the external placement was always the plan. They deliberately designed it this way because moving weights further from the center maximizes the stability effect. The trade-off is that external weights can stress the edge guard attachment points, which is something to keep in mind long term. Now let's address quality control. After about 30 games with my elongated test paddle, I started to see some issues. First, a visible seam appeared straight across the face. Looks like where the core meets the perimeter foam. It hasn't affected performance at all. No dead spots, no change in feel. But on a $333 paddle, you shouldn't be seeing cosmetic flaws this early. Then the edge guard started lifting on one side, even though I'd never touched the MOI weights. That's actually when I decided to remove them to see what difference they made. To Selkirk's credit, they replaced the paddle immediately with zero hassle. The lab's lifetime warranty covers manufacturing defects, so from a customer service standpoint, they handled it well. But here's the reality. This is essentially a beta product. The lab's designation isn't just marketing. It means you're helping Selkirk work out the kinks on a paddle that's still evolving. Think Gmail when it first launched under Google Labs. Fully functional, but still being refined based on real-world use. If you're comfortable being an early adopter, paying for that luxury, and potentially dealing with some teething issues, that's fine. But at $333, many players will expect retail level polish out of the box. And if this paddle is there yet, well, that's up to you. So now let's run through some key specs for both shapes, since choosing between them is probably the biggest decision you'll make with this paddle. Both versions use the same core technology, Boom Core foam system, EVA power ring, Infinigrit surface, and those fixed MOI side weights. They also share the same 5.75-inch handle length. The elongated measures 16.5 inches long by 7.375 inches wide and comes in at 8.22 ounces static with a 24.1 centimeter balance point. On my testing, it delivered 59.1 miles per hour serves, 37.9 mile per hour punch volleys, and 2,294 RPM spin, giving it a firepower index of 89. The wide body measures 16 inches long by 7.875 inches wide and weighs a bit more at 8.36 ounces, with a bounce point slightly closer to your hand at 23.9 centimeters. Performance was 58.3 miles per hour serves, 38.1 miles per hour punch volleys, and 2,188 RPM topspin for a firepower index of 91. Here's what's actually interesting. Despite having a lower swing weight on paper, the wide body actually plays heavier in hand because of how that mass is distributed. The elongated gives you more leverage and slightly higher spin numbers, while the wide body delivers more immediate pop and a larger sweet spot. So, how does all that tech actually translate on court? The first thing that jumped out was the dwell time. For a paddle designed to run raw power, the ball actually stays on the face longer than you'd expect. That gives you more control over where your shots go, whether you're hitting drives, roll shots, or drops. The contact feels dense and solid without being mushy or overly bouncy. And yes, it's loud. That boom in the name isn't just marketing. Well, it kind of is, but this thing has a deep, low-frequency sound that you'll definitely notice. It's not unpleasant, just very distinctive. Power delivery feels linear, which I really like. The harder you swing, the more pace you get, but there's no sudden trampoline effect at moderate speeds. Your drives and serves carry well, while compact counters at the net stay controlled and on target. Spin performance impressed me, and it comes from two things working together: the extended dwell time from that foam core and the Infinigrit surface coating. But let's be clear, dwell time is doing most of the heavy lifting here. The longer the ball stays on the face, the more spin you can generate. The Infinigrit surface friction helps, but it's really that extended contact time that makes the difference. Now, here's what I found out about how the surface holds up. I had an extra boomstick that was completely unplayed, so I could compare the surface texture directly. After a couple of weeks of regular play, the used paddle was noticeably smoother than the fresh one, and you could feel the difference by just running your fingers across the surfaces. The day one grittiness definitely wears down, but here's the key. Even with that smoothing, I was still getting good spin on my topspin drives and roll dinks because that dwell time from the foam core hasn't changed. The Infinigrit coating may lose some of its initial bite, but it maintains more usable texture than some raw carbon paddles that go completely smooth within a couple of months. Now for stability. This is where the Boomstick really separates itself from other power paddles. Those MOI weights do their job. When you miss-hit the ball or get jammed on a fast volley, the face doesn't twist like it would on other paddles, which means your blocks and counters stay playable more often instead of sailing wide. The wide body takes this a bit further and has a noticeably larger sweet spot and feels more forgiving on off-center hits. But here's the surprising part. Despite having a lower swing weight on paper, it actually feels slower and heavier in hand than the elongated. Most wide body paddles feel quicker because they're lighter. This one goes the opposite direction. I think the elongated moves faster through the air and gives you more leverage on drives, but you need sharper timing and fast exchanges. The wide body trades some of that quickness for more forgiveness and stability. As for modifying these paddles, a few grams of weight at the 12 o'clock position will add even more drive power, and weight near the handle will boost stability. But both changes will slow the paddle down, so if you're already concerned about the weight, this probably isn't the paddle to start adding weight to. So let me summarize the shape choices. If you want more leverage, spin, and a quicker feel, go elongated. If you prioritize forgiveness, pop, and a larger sweet spot, choose the wide body. Just remember, the wide body feels heavier in hand despite the lower swing weight. So let me be direct. I can't recommend this paddle at $333. Not because it doesn't play well, it does. It plays very, very well. The stability is impressive, the power delivery is solid, but When you can get similar performance from paddles like the Yola Pro 4, 11624 Alpha Pro Power, or even Selkirk's own SLK Aero Power for significantly less money, the value proposition just doesn't add up. That said, if you're determined to try it and you've got to have the latest and possibly greatest, here's who it makes sense for. You build points with aggressive drives and like to speed up early in rallies. You want a paddle that won't twist on you when you're jammed or slightly off center. You're comfortable with a heavier static weight and don't mind a power-first design that prioritizes stability over hand speed. This paddle is definitely not for you if you're chasing maximum maneuverability, prefer ultralight builds, or like to customize your paddle with tungsten. Those MOI weights are fixed, and adding any weight will slow it down even more. If you want more leverage and slightly quicker handling for a power paddle, go elongated. If you prioritize forgiveness and want the maximum sweet spot size, choose the wide body. Just know that the wide body plays heavier in hand despite what the swing weight numbers suggest. My honest take, wait and see how this paddle evolves. It's a solid first effort from Selkirk Labs, but those early quality issues and the premium price make it a hard recommend right now. If you're curious about the technology, maybe wait for version 2.0 or look for a significant price drop. The performance is there, but the value just isn't, at least not yet. Here's the bottom line on pricing. The Boomstick launches at $333 with a lifetime warranty, those fixed MOI side weights, and the Infinigrit surface. Selkirk is positioning this as a premium product with premium features. The problem? The market has caught up. You can get excellent power paddles with similar performance for less than the Boomstick. The Yola Pro 4, 11624 Alpha Pro Power, the SLK Aero Power all compete strongly on pop, stability, power, and feel, making it really hard to justify spending an extra $150 for features that, while nice, aren't really game-changing, unless you're looking for that full foam core premium labs option. If you do decide you want to try it, you can use my code INF-NPB to get a $33 kickback from Selkirk. But honestly, even at that price, there are so many options on the market to consider right now. My advice, put that $333 towards a paddle in the $200 price range and spend the difference on lessons, court time, or gear that will actually improve your game. Now, the Boomstick is a solid paddle that shows where premium paddle technology is heading. But unless you're specifically drawn to its unique combination of perimeter weighting and surface durability, your money is better spent elsewhere. At least until the price goes down or the technology trickles down to more affordable options. That's my take on the Selkirk Boomstick. Again, I love playing it. It's a great paddle. It's just really expensive and hard to justify that price. Let me know in the comments what you think about the premium paddle pricing and whether features like this are worth the extra cost. So that's it. That's the Selkirk Boomstick review. Are you thinking about buying one? If so, let me know if you have any questions or thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.